Let's talk about LeetCode 1839, longest substring of all voice in order. So give us a string words and want to find out a substring which the length which will be the longest. And those kind of voice will be in order, for example, A, E, I, O, U, right? So they must have at least one E's. Cannot have, for example, A skip E to be I, right? So I see this substring contains all A, E, I, O, U, and also they are in order. And it has the length 13, 13, 13. Right, so this question actually, what we think about is group iterations. Um, for every group, right? So if the change character, and we should have a count here, right? And here, initially this group should be related to A, right? Then next should be related to B, right? But to um, have any map with this group A, B, C, D is kind of nesting, right? So what we think about is that we consider A to be group ID 0, and B should be group ID 1, right? So how can we get the group ID? We get this character. So we'll have a string A, E, I, O, U index of this kind of character should be get this index group ID, right? So what we do is that when we finish this group, we want to see the next group whether that will be if current group is smaller equal to 4, right? Then the next group ID should be A plus 1, right? If it's not A plus 1, what we do is we should reset group. We should try from A again, reset group ID to be 0, right? And if we have, in this case, you have group ID equals 4, then we have we should add add our length, right? This group to this group to this group, and compare to the global result. So that will be the concept. So let's drag this to code. So we're going to have int n equals word dot length, and we need to have count, right? Count for every group the count. And then we have a group ID equals 0 initially. And we can add, use a current length, right? Current length that is, if we are in a group 0, 1, 2, 3, we add counts to the current. And we are going to have a result equal to 0, right? Then what we'll do is that for int I equals to 0, I smaller than n, I plus plus, right? So we're going to have a count increase, right? So if I equals n minus 1, or word dot char at I doesn't equal to word dot char at I plus 1, right? Then this is finish of one group. So we'll reset this one as 0, right? So we'll see we're going to have in the current group index, right? We'll use let's call it A. Okay, should be A, E, I, O, U, or current group index equals A, I, O, U index of array I, right? And the things that we want to see only in this kind of condition, right? So we'll say mm, if this I is smaller than n minus 1, right? We'll write int next group ID equals only this one smaller than n minus one, then A, E, I, O, U, index of array I plus one, right? Um, Otherwise, we just set this as minus one. So we'll say if current group equals group ID and next group ID equals group ID plus one, right? And next group ID, if it is current, we are at U, right? Next ID, we don't need to care about that. So um, we'll say if current group ID equals 4, right? In these two kind of scenario, then what we do is that we should have class current plus equal to count. And also we are going to have group ID equals um, group ID equals group ID plus one modify, right? So that if it is 4, it go back to 0. Else, you just set a group ID equals to 0 and also parent equals to 0, right? So after this if else, right, we say if, and also we'll say if mm, we can also say if current group equals 4, right? We'll have we'll have results compare with current result, right? And also we'll reset so we'll say if current group D equals 4, then we're going to have result equals max dot max result and current, and we also reset current equal to 0, right? So in the end, we just return result. Not array I, word char at, right? So this is a word char at I plus 1. Okay, so it will be O(n) time complexity with constant space complexity. Let's also write a Python code for this. So we are going to have n equals length word, and we're going to have count equals group ID equals the current uh, length, accumulated length and result all set at 0, right? So for I in range, and we're going to count to the plus equal to 1. So if I equals n minus 1, or word I doesn't equal to word I plus 1. So in this kind of scenario, we should set this be 0. So um, let's find their groups, right? So we'll see A equals A, E, I, O, U dot find word I. And B equals A, E, I, O, U dot find word I plus one if, right? If I is smaller than A minus one, otherwise it will be out of one, else just set this one as minus one. So if A equals group ID and B equals A plus one or A equals four, right? Then we're going to have current should plus equal to count. And group ID should be group ID plus one modifier, right? So let's say if A equals four, right? Then result equals max result current. And also then we should reset this as zero. And else they are not in a good order. We just reset group ID to be zero and also aren't equal to be zero, right? So in the end, just return result